So welcome back, everybody. Season 2, No Cap Sports Podcast, man. And this episode number 2. And so with that, bro, welcome to the Joe Ingles episode, man. We finna get straight into it. Josh, hit us with that fire, brother.
Thank you, my brother. First of all, I know we like to rag on each other a lot of bit, and talk about each other about as worse as we can. But I do have to commend you and give you a shout out for a big performance this week. What was it? 7 for 120 with 2 tutties. Is that the correct stat line?
He made up that line.
Oh God, he just made that up, bro. It was.
I thought I swear that the van sitting in the group chat. I know you had 2 tutties at least. Was it 7?
4 catches, like 104, 2 touches, bro.
Okay, my bad. I got the 2 tutties part right, but shout out to my man Nick holding it down for the city.
KOM.
Throwing up his in the end zone, things like that. Yeah, King of Memphis, which apparently I did not know what that means, which means I'm out of style. Excuse the hoodie. I'll give y'all a little sneak preview of what's going on under there. But y'all don't need to see that because kids watch this and it might be offensive to their heads right now. But nonetheless, coming through with that 5. First things first, arguably the greatest Southern hip hop artist of all time, greatest MC in my opinion, that would touch a microphone. Lil Wayne just dropped a mixtape. Just dropped the album on October 1st. And it wasn't a classic. Like I said, I think Wayne is one of the greatest MCs to ever touch a mic. The wordplay, the lyricism, the collaboration, the longevity of his career. All these things are things I take into account when I talk about ranking some of my greatest rappers. But unfortunately, this is a collaboration with Rich the Kid, former Migos affiliate, did a collaboration album with NBA Youngboy last year. And honestly just kind of is a little kid standing in the way of Lil Wayne's greatness on this album. There's a couple songs on here that I really like. Obviously, we know that, not obviously, but Wayne's not production value, but quality of music has fallen off just a little bit since obviously like the Carter drops and the things like that. Really with the Sorry for the Wave mixtape, that was probably a throwback banger mind off the Gorilla that I really appreciated. But he still is, like I said, when he gets in the booth, it's still a historic musical event. And I just hate that Rich the Kid had to be in the way of that. So going off of that,
you just don't like good music, bro.
You mean Wayne in the way of Rich the Kid, bro?
Oh God, bro. You acting like Rich the Kid ain't do Rich forever. You acting like Rich the Kid ain't raised famous dicks. You acting like Rich the Kid wasn't the wave of music right for a minute.
In rehab. And I was messing with famous dicks back in 2012?
16. 2016, 2017.
No, it wasn't that recent.
Yes, it was.
I have not downloaded.
You were in high school, Josh.
I had not downloaded famous dicks since
Dexter.
I'll say that was that 9th grade? I got the drip on my walk. Was that 2015? I'll give you that. But
like it wasn't
Dexter. Okay, yeah, that was a banger, half a decade ago. So, and famous dicks is your greatest contribution to the rap game, then it's safe to say you haven't done shit. But yeah, it is what it is. I think Rich the Kid has a large following. Has over 8 million on IG. Like I said, has done an album with 2 of the biggest Louisiana artists ever within the past 18 months. But yeah, it doesn't do it for me. So shout out Wayne, and we're gonna drop a big L in the chat for Rich the Kid missing the Wayne's album. On to the next. Rich the Kid. Tired of talking about him off. Rich off Pint 2. Iceberg Vezo. One of my favorite. I hate to call him upcoming artist just because he's been consistently making good music for about 2-3 years now. But this is kind of I wouldn't say it's coming out party, just a continuation of really good music that he's been putting out. He just dropped this, I guess they would call it a mixtape because he just dropped Rich Off Pints 1 late May 29th to be exact. And I'm messing with him. Like I said before on this program, some of the other co-hosts that I host this show with aren't appreciative of real rap and true bars. That's something that Iceberg Vezo has in the. I won't talk about you, bro. I won't talk about you. Don't even worry about it.
No. Who are you talking about?
Iceberg Vezo. You don't know who that is?
Who?
Detroit
Iceberg Vezo.
Hyper.
So what?
He from Detroit, huh?
Yeah. There we go, Nick. Come on, Nick. You can't allow me and Nick to be having the same.
I still ain't listened to the tape though. I just know who he is. I wasn't saying I ain't doing shit like that.
Is this a black man? A Negro?
Yeah, brother. He's a black man from Detroit. He did songs with Future. He got songs with Big 30. You got a song on here with Bag. that I'm not the biggest fan of. Honestly, I think Vezo kind of ran him off of the beat a little bit, but this is more of his thing. A lot of the beats are very Detroit centric, had that distinct Midwest sound, and the producer for I think his last three albums is a Cash Out, which is just hilarious to me because the sounds and the makeup, ride with that man. Keisha smoking on Keisha, that Cash Out. Well, yeah, that dude is the producer for Ice Word Vezo. So definitely somebody that I've been training for a long time. That tear the club up. He did a feature on his last album is in the top 10 of my 2021 replayed as well. And it's just a solid banger. Very disappointed in your lack of knowledge about his bands. We can collaborate.
His name. Maybe I'm not hearing you right.
I mean, it's a unique name, brother. Ice Word Vezo. It's not too many people with, that's got a similar name. He's a Detroit dude, bro. Like, I mean, he's not super popping right now. I guess I'm putting you on, so I do a lot with my musical.
Yeah, send me a song, please. Send me a song. Maybe
figure face, Nick. But he's just somebody I'm really rocking with. Like I said, the flow, the rap, the beat is all very the Midwest has its own distinct sound, and a lot of the young artists coming up right there, right now in that part of the country. You got Babyface Ray, Rio the Young OG, Free Rio. Still got guys like T Grizzly. Who?
Lick my balls.
Wow. I don't even want to continue no more. That's crazy. And that's not fair because we had this.
And it's not getting cut because it was funny.
Wow. That's tough. That's really tough. He got me with that sixth grade ass joke. Damn. This is not going well for me. I'm tired today. Last thing before I exit the screen, I can cry because of the mean comment that man made to me. Expensive Pain by Meek Mill. For the longest time, I think that Meek Mill was focused on rehabilitating his career as a upstanding citizen in the United States of America. I think his legal troubles were well documented and known, and the whole Free Meek Mill movement and him hanging out with rich white NBA basketball owners to kind of recertify, re-legitimize his image. I definitely kind of helped. Unfortunately, none of those people could help him in the booth. Just quick rundown of this album before we hop on here. I mean, Meek Mill is kind of, what you see is what you get. You're gonna get the alliteration. He's kind of, you're gonna have the bars. You're gonna have the energy, but it's just, you have to definitely be in a certain mood to listen to Meek. The stuff that he did on the album with the R&B cut with Kalani and Brent Faiyaz, two of my favorite R&B artists, and two of the biggest R&B artists in the country right now, absolutely horrible. He just kind of adopted. I guess he just had like a throwaway verses for those tracks and just laid it over the singing and the melody that they produced, and it definitely didn't fit at all. So just based off that kind of turned off a little bit. Thug washed him on his on the track that they put together. Meek Mill with the auto-tune, definitely not a big fan of. Hope he loses that quick, fast, and hurry. And I'm at the. It was definitely for me. 6 out of 5 to 7 out of 10 highest for me. Rolling Stone gave it a 3 out of 5. Maybe I can sit with it a little bit later, or before a game or something, to where I need to be a little bit more intense. But for right now, Meek's album is not getting this done for me. But I do want to take a step back and just acknowledge how far he has come in terms of his career rehabilitation efforts. Because, when did he beef with Drake? What year was that? We was in high school. That was 2015, 2016. A lot of people assumed that Meek's career was going to be over. And then, following that was how, Drake kind of dissipated him in that little thing. His legal troubles, commenting, obviously, I don't have the highest grade on his album right now, but for him to come back out, reestablish himself as a top earning artist. Even I think he topped the Apple Music Billboard charts with like pre-release ads or something like that. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of his album, but we must acknowledge a black man that has overcome a ton of adversity and has fought back to most of regaining his spot in the rap game. So shout out to Meek Mill, not for the album, but for what you've done in the culture. That's all I got.
All right, so now we finna get into the episode for real. And I gotta start with a special verses, bro. So here we go, bro. Player A. 14.3 points. NBA players. Player A averaged 14.3 points, 10.1 field goal attempts, shooting 55.7% from the field, with 6.9 assists, 7.2 rebounds, and 1.2 steals. Player B, on the other hand, averaged 11.9 points on 7.9 shots, shooting 62% from the field, with 8.8 assists, 7.9 rebounds, and 1.3 steals. So looking at this, which player would you rather have, player A or player B?
Just because I like the field goal percentage and the assist numbers is up by 2 assists, I'm gonna take player B.
Exact same reason.
The points are down, but the assists would count for 4 to 6 points, so that'll bring them above player A.
Same reasoning for me. I'm talking about 14, 7, and 7. That's approaching nightly triple double status. So I'll take player B as well.
So, just so y'all know, player A is Ben Simmons during the regular season of 2021. Player B is Ben Simmons during the postseason in 2021. And both of y'all picked postseason Ben Simmons in that versus. So
yeah,
now,
bro.
What does it say about us?
I don't know.
What does it say about Ben?
That's what I'm saying, bro. Because, we all know, bro. He's asked to be traded out of Philadelphia. We saw how the whole situation went after their second round loss in the playoffs to the Hawks. Doc Rivers even said that he didn't know the answer to that when he was asked if Ben Simmons could be a championship level point guard. So just what do y'all think about this whole Ben Simmons asking to be traded, Philadelphia not trading him situation?
Here's the thing. There's a reason why Ben Simmons, his game has not evolved since essentially Philadelphia drafted him. And yet, with these obvious holes in his game and the way that his play style has inhibited, Philadelphia's running a championship, there's a reason why he's still with the roster currently. You don't find guys that are nearly 7 foot that can handle the ball. You don't find guards nowadays that are fully committed on the defensive end of the floor and can hold and are defensive player of the year candidate. And you don't find guys that have the elite core vision and are willing to, in the league right now where, scoring is emphasized, that are willing to facilitate, run the offense, make your teammates better, essentially. So those 3 things are undeniably strengths of Ben Simmons that characterize him as an all-level player, somebody that still has the potential to be a franchise pillar, and I will see, from my view, has the potential to be the best player on a championship team. That being said,
wait, hold on. You said Ben Simmons can be the best player on a championship team.
Yes, he has the potential to. Yes, most definitely.
He didn't even take LSU to the tournament.
I'm just saying, at the very best version of that we can envision in Ben Simmons. If Ben Simmons shoots 35% from 3, he can't be the best player on a championship team. Like, what are we talking about here? I know there are.
He has to actually shoot threes first before he can shoot 35%.
Bro, I understand that. Let me get to my next point, Kenneth Reed. I got you, bro. I'm just saying right now, there are certain things that we have to do. There are big steps that I have to take, obviously, to make that assumption. But, at his absolute peak, yeah, I can see him being the best player on the championship team.
How far from his peak, though? He's 27?
He's 25.
He's 25.
That's my next – my bad. That was just my next thing. He's, 6 years into his term with Philadelphia. We've seen marginal improvement. Philadelphia has done, a great job organizationally in terms of trying to minimize his weaknesses and put a championship level roster of shooters and floor spacers around him. And yet nothing has changed. Not only has nothing changed, he's actually regressed in terms of his ability to take over the game offensively and to mesh well with Joel Embiid. So at this point, this is just a good old-fashioned holdout, something that we don't see a lot with a guy under multiple years of his contract, simply refusing to come and report and acting like this is the last year of his deal. And I think that for right now, his trade value is at rock bottom. I think it bottomed out after he refused to take that shot, that easy dunk in the playoffs versus Atlanta, and with the dissension and the reports coming out about different trade pages that Derek Morris turned down. it's having his options are becoming fewer and fewer about what he can get back from Ben Simmons. So, the combination of those two factors, Ben Simmons' regression offensively, and I would say some of the volatile trade market for him, it's going to make this situation, as bad as it is, it's going to get worse before it gets better.
I mean, bro, first of all, Ben Simmons isn't even a top 5 international player in the NBA right now. I don't even think that's a hot take, bro. I think that's just facts, bro. You go down the list, Giannis, Luka, Embiid, Jokic. Give me Gobert over him. I mean, honestly, that's 5 players right there. So with this being said, bro, he needs to stop acting like a light skin. He needs to toughen up. Honestly, that's all it is. Toughen up, bro. People gonna talk about you your whole life, bro. Just because you don't like how your teammates, your coach talking about you, bro. If you want out, bro, that's okay, but be a professional about it. I don't skip in practice. That's not okay, bro. Just go to practice. That's all you gotta do. Show up. You can do individual drills. I promise you, they do not care. All you gotta do is show up to the practices, show up to the games. They will trade you. They will give you what you want. He's acting like a little baby.
Yeah, bro. And I think he brought this on himself, in my opinion, bro. Because I gave y'all his playoff numbers in the verses. But if you just look at that last series versus Atlanta, he only averaged 9 points, shooting 6 field goals per game, 59% from the field. I
bet you if you look at the stats skewed in the fourth quarter, bro, I bet you it's probably the worst in the NBA.
Yes, bro, because we both saw it we all saw it with our own eyes, bro. They were fouling him. He was scared to go to the free throw line. He didn't want the ball in his hands. And part of that is Doc Rivers taking the ball out of his hands in those crucial moments. Well, part of that is Ben not being aggressive with the ball in his hands. And like Josh said, he has the potential to be an all-world player. Every player in the NBA has that potential. But potential doesn't mean shit if you don't do nothing with it. And so far, Ben Simmons hasn't done anything with it. You look at the 76ers team, it is constructed, not for Ben Simmons, it's constructed for Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid to be successful in Philadelphia. If you just look at this team, Simmons is really what makes it go. Because we've talked about it before with Jokic. You can't have a good big and not a good guard. It just doesn't work that way. You can't be successful in the NBA. And I think Ben Simmons he's a good player. He is. 3-time All-Star, 2-time All-Defense selection. He's only 25. Only 25. So I don't think it's right for him to no longer want to be a part of this organization when this organization has put so much into him. Think about when they drafted him, he had to sit out a year. They worked with him to get him back on the court, get him acclimated, get him a team around him to win. He's part of the process, and now the process is time to, it's time to turn the process in and win, and you don't want to be there no more. I just don't understand it.
Being a baby.
Has there been a guy with more physical talent since we have all started watching basketball that has been less aggressive and less
no
has as much on-the-field potential as Ben Simmons?
No, bro.
It is mind-boggling. I think this is actually probably a product of the era that we're in right now. Talking about the player empowerment era. Like I said, this is actually a knock him out, drag him out type of holdout with him using the port to kill. But we've seen, multiple examples of guys, forcing their way out of situations with multiple years left on their deal. So while Ben Simmons is taking it to the extreme, and I think that this relationship is probably the most tenuous out of the star organizational relations that we have out there. This is not something that's entirely new or entirely foreign to the NBA right now, where guys crying and complaining about the situation that they're in which a large part is them, the construction of the situation being of their women needs, and yet still being able to force their way out and maneuver, basically set franchises back for decades because of I would say their inability to come up clutch or inability to fulfill their the end of the bargains for these teams and their contracts. But it's a precedent. You talk about Kawhi, you talk about James Harden. This is I just think this is the latest and nastiest evolution of these star organizational relationships.
If you look at the Ben Simmons situation, he's taking more of an NFL approach to getting himself out of Philadelphia. Because you remember the James Harden situation, the Kawhi situation. These guys showed up to camp What they did was limited, of course, because Kawhi, he had the injury. Nobody knows if it was actually an injury or not. James Harden was there. He was still playing games for the Rockets, even though they might not have been his best performances. But Ben Simmons has refused to show up, period. And because of that, the 76ers have taken the money he was owed, $8.25 million, put it into an escrow account. And starting yesterday, with the beginning of the preseason, he's going to see a permanent financial hit for his decision to stay away from the team. For every pre and regular season game missed, that's $360,000 that will be deducted from that escrow account that he can't get back. And if he misses all 4 preseason games, that's $1.4 million lost for Ben Simmons. Now these guys are NBA professionals. He's made plenty of money in his career, yes. But if he continues to sit out, that's money lost and money lost and money lost. So
That's
looking
too
at it
much.
exactly. So looking at it like that, how do y'all think the situation shakes out? Do y'all think he's gonna stay on the roster until the start of the regular season, or do you think he gets traded soon?
Oh man, bro, that's too much money lost. Eventually, it's gonna ruin his pockets, bro. He's gonna have to come back in and play some games. I feel, but the thing is, he has the talent to do whatever he wants. Literally, if he just got his shots up and stopped being a baby, he literally could be Giannis. He could be Luka Doncic if he wanted a better version of Luka. Luka's inefficient from the 3-point line. You saying slow down, but if he was aggressive, bro, he would be a better version of Luka Doncic. Offensively, he plays better defense than Luka. He'll be on the same level as Giannis, probably a top 5 player. But I mean, that's too much money lost, bro. He's gonna at least have to show up for the games and the practices.
I just want to say quickly, I guess before we transition off this topic, this is, the second high-profile case we've seen with Philadelphia, and them having, I guess, some developmental issues with number 1 overall pick. Obviously, remember the Markelle Fultz situations to where he's averaged 24, 25 points a game at Washington. Looked like a Kyrie Irving clone, in my opinion. You got a draft with a Tatum, and I don't know what was in that draft, but out of Tatum, Ingram, those guys, he was, seemed to be the clear-cut number 1 overall guy. And then he started to shoot like Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, and nobody ever really figured out what happened to him. Then he gets to Orlando, seems to be kind of working his way through things. So my biggest thing for Philadelphia is looking at their developmental staff, how they develop high-end talent. Even with Embiid, obviously he had an injury history coming in, but he still missed them. He has endured injuries with Philadelphia, and there is calls for questions about how well that staff is taking care of him and held up his end of the bargain, meaning that he's a franchise player. So I would look, I think it's some self-reflection time around Philadelphia. Sam Hinkie, started the whole tankathon solution to end Philadelphia's mediocrity, and it did what it was supposed to do. Not attractive, but garnered Philadelphia high-end talent, made them championship contenders, and put them in a position to where they can compete at the highest level in the NBA. And from the looks of it, talking about just those 2 particular situations, Fultz and Ben Simmons, it seems like Philadelphia has squandered away decades of high-level basketball and championship, contention and titles. I mean, they've been contending. They've been in the Final Four of the NBA playoffs a couple of times. But it just seems like, almost like a situation where you would look back with OKC when they had that Russ, KD, Serge Ibaka, James Harden quartet. And we'll just look back and say what could have been if situations would have been different.
Man did everything but answer that question.
Oh God. Oh God. So we finna move on.
What was the
keep
question?
talking.
I'm tripping.
It's straight. We finna move on. We finna keep talking about Ben Simmons.
Now I feel bad.
Because now we finna get into some potential trade packages. So one of the big reasons why Ben Simmons hasn't been moved yet has been Philadelphia's high asking price for Ben Simmons. They started out negotiations asking for a minimum of 4 first-round picks and an all-star level player. And the 76ers have even said they're comfortable with Ben Simmons being on the roster for the start of the 22 season. So looking at this, what would y'all say Ben Simmons' value is in a trade right now?
I mean, 4 first rounders, that's kind of high. I mean, he is a all-star guy in the prime of his career right now, but that's still just a little bit too high in terms of getting back a current all-star, and you will be mortgaging what you would see at 4 first rounders for starting caliber level guys. So that was always a little bit, unrealistic from my circumstance. But I will say right now for what Ben Simmons is, like I said, an all-star in the prime of his career, an all-star plus a first rounder at the very minimal, or I'll say an all-star and your team's best young prospect. I would definitely say that should be the bar.
If you're looking, considering Philadelphia's position right now, and they're in win now mode, definitely need an all-star. You can't just trade for potential, but you're in win now. Process is here. But just going into it, here's a team. Here I'm gonna give y'all two teams, bro, that I believe would be in a perfect position to trade for them. Actually, I'm gonna give you a versus right now. Like you said, Nick, you told us Ben Simmons stats 14, 7 and 7. Here's a player that I think that can match his stats, be just as good, and be perfect for that system because he's not gonna be scared to score. He averaged 20 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists and 3 rebounds. He was in a Western Conference. Anybody want to take a guess who he is? He's a player that wants to be traded. He's a guard.
Zach LaVine?
Nope. I said Western Conference, bro.
I'm sure.
Buddy Hield?
Nope.
I don't know.
A point guard.
He's not
Maybe
shy.
Fox, huh?
Nope.
No, he was at 25 or 7, I think. Oh my goodness.
I don't know. Them stats gonna surprise you. I want to hear it.
Yeah.
Perfect team, perfect situation, not scared to score. Give me John Wall and Eric Gordon. John Wall was the player with the stats from the Rockets.
Ooh.
I think it'd be a good situation for both players to finally give John Wall a chance to win now. Instead of they've been giving him fake chances in Washington. They didn't really give him a fair shot in Houston, shipped away Harden. But then again, next team I'm gonna go with is the Brooklyn Nets, bro. Straight up for Kyrie. Y'all know Kyrie's has the COVID vaccination situation going on. In New York, he's gonna have to miss a lot of games. In Philly, he could play just at least 75. So I'm gonna go with those two, John Wall and Eric Gordon for Ben Simmons in Houston, or you can go with Brooklyn, Kyrie for Ben Simmons straight up. I believe Ben Simmons will be able to fit with 2 scorers in Harden and KD. And I think those two would be good.
I think that's an interesting combo. Putting Simmons in there with KD and Harden, doesn't have to worry about floor space and can just do what he does. But last question before we circle back to Kyrie. Without Simmons, do y'all think the 76ers are still a contender in the East? Looking at the potential starting lineup of Tyrese Maxey, a combination of Steph Curry, Danny Green, or Matisse Thybulle, Tobias Harris, who's a very good NBA player, and Joel Embiid.
No,
not at all. I don't even think that's the top 4. I mean, they got if Joel Embiid's a star. I don't even think that's the top 4 seed right there.
Yeah, you need a guard, star guard.
You got a bunch of guys that was good in college.
Embiid's that guy. Don't get it twisted. He's still Embiid's that guy. They'll get the second round.
That they seem like a watered down Eastern Conference version of the Nuggets, honestly, with that roster makeup. And they don't. And I would say Michael Porter Jr. right now over Tobias Harris. So I don't think that's a team that. I mean, you said second round fans. I would want to see who they get in the 4 or 5 matchup. Being around, they will probably cheat around that area. But no, I wouldn't be scared of that team whatsoever.
Okay, so circling back to Kyrie and a point that Vance made earlier, if he remains with the Nets, he'll be unable to attend home practices, home games, and play in San Francisco or against the Knicks. So what do you guys think Brooklyn should do with this whole Kyrie situation?
You go first, Vance, just because I got a multitude of different thoughts that I want to get off.
I think they should. I would definitely keep him, but if the vaccine rules are still the same around the trade deadline, you got to trade him. You have to, because at that point it's just like he won't be able to play. If he gets to the trade deadline on vaccinated and they still have the same rules, he can't play in the playoff games, bro. So he'll be missing half the series. Let's say they are a 2 or 3 seed, then they got to travel to Milwaukee and play without Kyrie. I mean, they can win with Harden and KD, possibly, maybe, but it's like you gonna come home to Brooklyn and Kyrie can't play. If you split wherever they go to Milwaukee, they split in Miami, they split in Philly, they split in Atlanta, bro. It's gonna be a lot tougher when you go home and you can't play 2 games without Kyrie, maybe 3 if they get to 6 games. So I keep him to the trade deadline, and if the rules still apply, bro, you gotta ship him.
I'm gonna say Kyrie Irving. I'm not gonna lie. I really like the idea that Vance put out there of trading him for Ben Simmons. That was an angle that I never really had considered. And honestly, I would be willing to get less value for Kyrie Irving than whatever Darren Moore received for Ben Simmons. You know, the issue of the vaccine has become really politicized, and it's become kind of a line of demarcation in the sand of, you know, reasonable, unreasonable, intelligent, non-intelligent, things like that. A lot of topics that we don't really broach on this podcast. So I'll just tell you out the boredom of. But at the end of the day, Kyrie Irving is an employee of the National Basketball Association. And like any company out there, they have rules and regulations regarding, you know, COVID-19, you know, and have set, you know, standards about what their players need to be doing, and, you know, some of the ramifications financially and also with availability in terms of not being vaccinated. You know, I don't think this is a case to where anybody was caught off guard with it, or they're singling out Kyrie, or they're trying to hold him up as a poster child, or this is what happens to unvaccinated players. He is just simply, you know, like what you said with the Ben Simmons situation, being a big baby about it. I understand that he has the right to not be vaccinated. I understand that he may or may not feel unsafe about the vaccination for whatever point, or for whatever reason, which may or may not, doesn't really make sense to me at this point. But at the end of the day, if you have a guy, an all-star on your team that you know right now is guaranteed to miss half of your games, in any other situation besides a vaccination debate, would he not be on the market right now, especially in Brooklyn, where he's a guy that's your third option? Like you said, man, you can go out and win a playoff series or 2, and Brooklyn was very close to winning, with being in the NBA Finals, if Kevin Durant split it decides, 13 instead of 15? So this team has already proven that you're not a necessity for long-term success for them. And I think that, you know, combining some of the things that Kyrie has said in the past, that he's done in the past, some of the questionable reasons that he's missed time and has been out of practice, and generally not been in one accord with the next organization, I would be fed up with Kyrie. I think that for as talented as a basketball player he is, probably the best one-on-one scorer that we have in the game right now, with the talent that Brooklyn has, he's not worth the headache. He's not worth, you know, when you have 2 top 10 guys in James Harden and Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant.
Yeah, 3, bro. They got Patty Mills. Don't disrespect them like that.
If this is the Olympics, I would agree with you, brother. But unfortunately, it's not. So, you know, I just think that, you know, it's time to get Kyrie out of there. He obviously, I'm just saying, he seems to be a guy that's headstrong. He believed in the earth being flat for way longer than what he was supposed to be as a grown-ass man. And I just think that, you know, we know that this is not a black and white world. These are all different types of shades of gray. This is a different team. You know, if he was the only all-star on his team, I think it would be a different situation. If he was, you know, even if he was in Cleveland with LeBron, needing to be that, you know, the Chris Middleton to LeBron Giannis, I still think that he would still be way too valuable in terms of being traded away for this reason. But it would still be a debate. But on this team, in this situation, and the point that we're at in our society, where, you know, I think what did Adam Silver said, 90%, 95% of the league is vaccinated. Kyrie just seems to be holding up the end of the holding up cooperation and this next team just for the fun of it, honestly.
Let me ask you this, bro. Are your morals too high to get vaccinated for $34 million?
Are my morals too high to not get vaccinated? There's not a lot of things I won't do for $34 million. I'll just say that. You know, it's a shot, my boy. It's a shot. You got vaccinated. You had to get vaccinated to go to school. You had to get vaccinated to do all different types of things. You feel me? To participate in Little League basketball, football, do all, you know, I'll get off that topic. But at the end of the day, if your third option was at this point guaranteed to miss all of your home games, he would be out of there, no questions asked, if his name was not Kyrie Irving. So I think that the name recognition and the star status that he has is definitely helping him out. But I'm sick of it, honestly. He's been kind of been a distraction for the team for far too long.
I think you bring up a good point, but at the end of the day, it's Kyrie Irving we're talking about. He's a top 3-point guard in the league, and he's shown how important he is to that Brooklyn team. At the end of the day, he's the point guard of that team. He runs that team, facilitates for the other two guys, make sure that you know what I'm saying. Everybody gets theirs in a way. I think we kind of saw that when he went down in the Bucks series. Those first two games were blowouts. And you want to know why? Kyrie was playing. Kyrie was doing his thing. Kyrie goes down, and we see how the series changes. Yes, James Harden went down too, but Kyrie, I believe, had a bigger impact on that series than he's given credit for. And so I think it's tough. You know, you don't want to tell a guy he has to get vaccinated. And it's something that I think he has to come to on his own. But I think he's just coming to it with a Republican way of thinking. Like they said, he's been liking all these conspiracy posts, all that kind of stuff. Like I'm not gonna dig too much into that. But my thing is, Kyrie, you're a hooper, just hoop, bro. Get the vaccine. Like Josh said, you gotta get a vaccine to go to school. You gotta get a vaccine to keep everybody in that locker room safe. Make sure the NBA stays safe so they can have a full season. Just get the vaccine, play the games, and there will be no problem. We wouldn't even be debating this right now.
You too, Andrew Wiggins. Go do that.
Andrew Wiggins did it. Wiggins did it.
Oh, he got vaccinated?
Yeah.
Yes, he got vaccinated. Yeah,
Folks bullied him. I like that.
I mean, yeah. Bro, you're talking about missing, you're automatically cutting out in San Francisco and in New York, half of your games. Half your games. You're not
and practice. You can't practice at home either.
You wouldn't carry.
That's how you get hurt.
Exactly. Like, let me ask y'all this. I mean, yes, Kyrie Irving, top 3-point guard in the NBA right now.
Top 3-point shooting guard.
Whatever floats your boat, bro. He operates at the one, but whatever. You know, how big of a drop off in this team do we really see if we replace Kyrie Irving with, you know, another borderline all-star guy like Kyle Lowry? Like, what is the real drop off will we see? Getting back 70, 75% of Kyrie Irving's production just for a guy that's willing and able to get a shot? Like, what's the trade-off there? 10 wins, maybe? 5 wins?
They would win the finals with Kyle Lowry, I think. With the finals with Mike Conley, maybe.
Malcolm Brogdon, like guys that are, you know, are just a tier below him, but just don't bring the headache.
I think a big part of this you're missing is the chemistry. Kevin Durant went to Brooklyn because he wanted to play with Kyrie.
Facts.
James Harden went to Brooklyn because he wanted to play with Kyrie and KD.
Had they spoken about that?
Not that I know of. I haven't seen anything.
Me neither.
No, way too hot button for them to get in trouble with that. But here,
at the end of the day,
talk about it.
At the end of the day, he's a grown man. He can make his own grown man decision. So.
And that is what it is at the end of the day. But we can still talk about your head.
So while we're talking about the NBA, ESPN recently dropped their top 100 NBA players. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through ESPN's top 10 list right now. At number 10, I got James Harden. Number 9, Anthony Davis. Number 8, Dame Lillard. Number 7, Joel Embiid. Number 6, Nikola Jokage. Number 5, Steph Curry. 4, Luka. 3, LeBron. 2, Giannis. And 1, Kevin Durant. Now, ESPN did leave off guys who are going to be injured for the majority of the season, guys like Kawhi Leonard. So just take that into consideration. But I got to ask you guys, who are your top 5 players heading into this 2022 season?
Okay, I'm gonna give it in order, and just like ESPN didn't include him, I didn't include Kawhi. Kawhi would have been my number 5. So number 1, I'm gonna have to go with LeBron James, the king, the GOAT, you know, anything and everything. Number 2, I'm gonna go with Kevin Durant, bro. Said that the best scorer in the world, best scorer possibly of all time. Number 3, I'm gonna have to go with.
As a guy that's an admitted bronzexual, it kind of pains me to read this list, but I'll do it anyway. Number 1, Kevin Durant. You know, obviously we've seen, you know, he had a more talented team than LeBron, but still, first round exit doesn't sit too well with me. I know him and AD are gonna, you know, get back, and then they have, you know, a Park League rec center aged roster, and I think he can definitely reclaim the number 1 spot. You know, with next season with a strong kind of a bounce back performance by his standards. But for right now, Kevin Durant, best basketball player in the world, best scorer. Highest ceiling, can do the most things on the basketball court at this very moment. Number 2, LeBron James. Best basketball in my eyes that I've ever seen such a basketball. Number 3, which actually would be it's pretty crazy to consider that a Finals MVP and a record setter right now is at MVP. But Giannis Antetokounmpo seems to be the new age evolution of Shaq. 75% from the field in the finals is crazy as hell. And I mean, it's not the same length as Ben Simmons, but it's a jump shot away from being undoubtedly at the top of this list. Number 4, Steph Curry. Like Van said, best shooter we've ever seen. The true game breaker, somebody that, is must see TV when he gets on a roll from outside. And again, kind of somebody in a similar situation to LeBron that's coming off a down year. Obviously, us being Memphis guys, I'm just talking about team success, not
okay.
Let's
say he led the league in scoring.
My bad. But yeah, when you get at this level, I don't even think we're gonna be discussing guys' individual ability. I think all of these guys that we're talking about are gonna be ranked about how far they can lead their teams. So yeah, I just think that on this list right here, he's the only guy on this. When you see people tweeting about Steph Curry, or you see the little fire emoji that Bleacher Report puts up, he's talking about you got to find a TV screen, you got to go to Twitter, you got to see the highlights, yada yada yada. Number 5, I will see your Joel Embiid and Ray Nikola Jokage as the reigning league MVP. I know I made this comparative before on this podcast. Got really shitted on for it. Really don't care. New evolution of Larry Bird, somebody that can do everything on a basketball court at a high level, pass, shoot. I'm a big guy. I'm a big fan of somebody that can make their teammates better. Doesn't offer the defensive rim protection of a Joel Embiid, but that offensive ceiling and the way he's pushed, he squeezed every ounce of talent out of that Denver team. That gives me the slight edge over Embiid. So, yeah, that's me.
That was cute. So before I get started, I'm gonna let y'all know LeBron isn't on my list. He's playing the season at age 37. I just don't think he's a top 5 player in the NBA anymore, and we saw that in the playoffs. So number one on my list is Paul George, best player in the NBA by far. Revitalized his career this year in the playoffs. I'm just kidding. My number one.
I'm about to leave too. That's crazy. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Go off, bro.
I was just kidding, bro. I was just kidding. Hope he comes back.
You voted Pissy P number 1. That Paul George, the one that got one leg. That Paul George.
My fault, bro. All right, bro. So for real, my real number 1, Kevin Durant, best scorer in the NBA, put a team on his back, did it throughout the playoffs. My number 2 is Luka Doncic, man.
Stop the cap, bro.
He's been talking that dumb shit, man.
No, bro, but did you hear his number 2, Josh?
No, number 1, it was too much for me.
No, he was playing. He said KD, but listen to his number 2. But he was for real.
My number 2 is Luka Doncic. He's the future of the NBA. I'm just trying to tell y'all, bro. I'm trying to tell y'all. Luka Doncic is the second best player in the NBA.
I ain't getting off.
Second best player.
Not right now.
Led Dallas to the 5th seed with Tim Hardaway Jr. as the second best player in the West. In the West, we talking about. My number 3 player is Giannis. I had to give him his flowers. Finals MVP, dominant. Led the NBA in free throw attempts. Got to get those free throw percentage numbers up. And he, shooting 63% of his. Shooting 45% of his shots in the painted area. That's impressive. Number 4, I got Nikola Jokage, NBA MVP, 16 triple doubles, led the league in player efficiency rating, win shares, and box plus minus. That guy's a beast. And number 5, Wardell Stephen Curry, best shooter in the league, led the league in scoring. I think he's gonna come back with a vengeance, and the whole Warriors will.
So you would rather have Luka Doncic than Stephen Curry?
He actually said that.
And you would rather have Luka Doncic than LeBron James?
Yeah.
Man. I mean, I would take that over. I mean, nah, there's a lot wrong with your list. I'd have had some bad takes. I mean, admittedly, have had some bad takes on this show. That might be the worst.
You said he's the second best player
in the NBA. And
I'm just saying, man, it's time for y'all to put some respect on Luka, bro.
I'll bring it back. I can say within a couple of years, I would go lean toward that logic, but just some of the defensive limitations right now, and like Vance, I think you pointed out earlier, his inefficiency from three, I just really wouldn't put him up there. Just talking about
Two things.
He's a killer, bro.
Two things about
He
Luka.
is.
Two things about Luka. We talk about shot percentages reflecting shot selection. Luka takes a lot of bad shots. He has no choice. He is the offense in Dallas. He led the NBA in usage percentage, bro. He's the most used player in the NBA.
So based on what you're saying, bro, where's Trae Young at? He led his team to Eastern Conference Finals.
Okay. He in that 10. He in that 10 to 15.
Same draft.
Top 10?
Yeah,
top 10 player right now?
I said Trae Young is in that 10 to 15 range.
Oh, okay.
But Luka is a do-it-all guy, like I said. Led the NBA usage percentage, still put up 27 points. And as a matter of fact, bro, I would be okay if I switched Giannis and Luka on my list, put Giannis at 2, Luka at 3. But there's no way I'm taking Luka outside of my top 3 players for 2022. He's one of those guys, and I think he will continue to build steam on his performance last year.
The only reason I'm not giving y'all flack for Jokic over Embiid is because Embiid is probably going to be hurt at some point in the season, while Jokic is going to be healthy.
It don't even matter. Full health. I'm taking Jokic over Embiid. I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna lie. If Embiid didn't get hurt, he should have won MVP.
Thanks.
I just gave Jokic the nod because he did win MVP last year.
Damn, he did.
I mean, the best part of oh my God, that's crazy. Prayers up to PG. I mean, being able to be on the court and being available is a skill, and that's one that Jokic has in abundance, and Joel Embiid seems to struggle with. So, yeah.
So anyway, we done kind of talked about our list a little bit, but now I think we should look at ESPN's list, reflect back on it, and see who is overrated on ESPN's list and who is underrated. So I want to start out with who's overrated, and I guess I'll start it out. Karl Anthony Towns. I just don't like that guy. I don't know why, bro. Like, everybody loves Karl Anthony Towns. I just like, why? Like, I get it. He, averages 24 and 10. Nice, that's cute. But what does he do for me as a big man? He don't do nothing on defense. The Wolves had a defensive rating of 114.7, which is terrible. He's outside of the top 20 in win shares, only contributing 5.4. And he hasn't been able to contribute to winning yet in Minnesota, despite them putting some nice teams together. So I just don't see all the hype behind Karl Anthony Towns. I think he's a good player, don't get me wrong. But a top 25 player in the league, I'm not exactly sold on that.
Man, it shouldn't be no surprise who I'm going to go with, bro. Most overrated player on this list is Christopher Paul, number 13. I don't think he's a top 15 player in the NBA. Just looking at this list, give me Jason Tatum, who's underneath him. Give me Devin Booker. Give me Jimmy Butler. Give me Trae Young. Give me Donovan Mitchell. Give me Chris Middleton, who cooked him. Give me Drew Holiday. Give me Kyrie Irving over him. Bam Adebayo or Chris. Give me Bam Adebayo. Give me Zion Williamson. All right.
Hey, hold on, time out, bro. Time out. Would you rather have DeAnthony Melton or Chris Paul?
DeAnthony Melton got a way better name.
Yeah. He not gonna flop, bro. Give me DeAnthony, bro.
Damn.
I mean, I'll put him in the 25 range, but just because, all right, he led his team to the finals, but then again, bro, they was already good if you look back at what they was doing in the bubble, bro. Campaign replaced them in the playoffs, and there was no drop-off, bro. So I think if you just put a solid point guard, I mean, honestly, they probably would have won the finals if they had Kyle Lowry instead of Chris Paul. Honestly, just put another point guard in that position because he folded. I don't care what anybody says in that playoff series, he folded, bro. And I believe 13 is a little too high, especially when he's not the best player in his team. They got Devin Booker lower down. But I will give him credit. He had his highest assist number since 2015 with 8.9 assists. But no, that's too high.
I like it, Vance. I guess these NBA rankings, this is a nationally reputable site, the leader in sports in our society right now. So I definitely think that they do take into consideration, how these rankings will be perceived by the players and affect their relationship with the players. So there's something to consider when you think about, are they objectively putting who they think is really the best. For me, it's gonna have to be Brad Beal. The same way that you feel about all those guys that you would have taken over Chris Paul, I feel the same way about Brad Beal. Give me JT over Brad Beal. Give me Devin Booker over Brad Beal. Give me Jimmy Butler over Brad Beal. Give me Donovan Mitchell over Brad Beal.
Time. Wasn't Brad Beal second in the league in scoring?
He was first, I think, actually.
Steph Curry was
first. But this is second year averaging over 30 a game. Yeah. Again, I kind of seem to be a pattern of mine to not have the big affection for what I see as one-dimensional scorers that don't really offer anything else outside of their team. Brad Beal has definitely improved year by year as a playmaker, but when you have another top 30 guy on your team and Russell Westbrook, and you're outside of the playoff race for a long stretch of the season, that caused me to question your ability to contribute to winning basketball. Something that we had, questions about with Devin Booker, and he kind of put those to rest with his performance in the playoffs. So, Brad Beal, he shoots efficiently. He's a good three-point shooter. I've never seen both of those things happen with my own eyes in the game before. So, I don't get around to too many Washington Wizards games. I definitely think that he's still a all-star level guard in this league. But to have him at 11, when I would take a lot of the younger guys ahead of him just based on potential and the ability to do it on both ends of the floor right now, not too high for him. He just seems like a further evolved player. One of your favorite guys, Anthony Edwards. He's gonna give you a lot of buckets. Don't know how efficiently he's gonna get them to you. Able to facilitate in the pinch, but not really what he looks to do. He's just still of a guy that you can essentially mark down 25 to 30 points in the box score and an L. So guys like that for me don't really get top 10 consideration. And with 11, obviously ESPN considers him a fringe top 10 guy, which I don't think so whatsoever.
Okay, and so with that, now who are some guys that y'all think are underrated on this ESPN top 100 list?
You go first, man.
I'm gonna go with a guy that was the sixth man of the year last season, and he was actually ranked 80, bro. And that's in Jordan Clarkson, bro.
He was ranked 90, bro. He was ranked
90th.
Yes.
That's even worse, bro. But it goes, bro. He's a bucket, automatic bucket, bro. He's a cut from that Jamal Crawford cloth, bro. That Kobe cloth. Kobe told him stop playing like a light skin. It changed his life, bro.
But that's hold on, bro. That's your second time. You're only 2 shades away from me, my boy. I'm gonna need you to stop with all this light skin Drake slander.
I mean, that's what Kobe told him to do it, and that's what he did.
Didn't say.
Yes, he did. Kobe said it. Jordan Clarkson got tatted, got the braids, and started getting buckets.
I'm just saying Kobe, rest in peace, Dean, may not be the person you always want to go to for life advice.
I'm just saying, Josh. I heard you moan when people block you.
Hey, that was funny. I'm not gonna make a shit loose, but this one though.
Who you think is the most underrated, Josh?
DeJounte Murray is a guy that I've really liked out of Washington for a long time. 6'5", 6'6" point guard. Long, lanky. And then coming from Seattle, went to the same high school as Jamal Crawford, had the ability to dance with the basketball a little bit, and quickly looks to be the cornerstone of that Spurs franchise, which has been historic. And with the development that Greg Popovich has put in place with him, I just see as a guy at 83. I mean, that's just really low because he was 83 on last year's list, 2020's list, and jumped in efficiency, jumped from 10 points to 16 points a game. From 4 assists to 7, like from 2 assists to 5 assists a game, and the jump in, like I said, shooting efficiency, 3-point percentage, and rebounds as well. How many guards can we really mark down at 17, 5 assists, 7 rebounds a night? While playing, outstanding defense. I think that he's a little bit closer to what I would say, like that SG. It's just a little bit tough. He's not in that SGA book, Donovan Mitchell tier, but I think he's definitely a lot closer. I would put him a little bit more towards 50 than 83. You got an exciting young team there with him, Keldon Johnson, Lonnie Walker, and I think that he's the guy that's going to be the torch carrier for that team for a while. We saw him obviously in the play-in game when they came back here to Memphis. Didn't have his best game, but he's a guy that, you know, the stats are harder to catch up to the potential rather quickly. He's only 24. So, you know, DeJounte Murray, he's a guy that I see as an all-star, if not this year, then next year, or at least an all-star replacement.
That's a hot take. It might happen, but I don't think so. But you know,
I mean, okay. Remember that year that Lance Stephenson was coming off the bench and everybody wanted him to be an all-star? He averaged 14, 7, and 4 assists. So that's kind of been my baseline of working with guys that we can consider all. Because I mean, I remember that Lance Stephenson Indiana year. He was balling, and DeJounte Murray does a lot of the same things as Lance Stephenson. It looks a little bit different because of their body type, but defense, ball handling, ability to kind of have that splash play when it needs to be. And DeJounte Murray, he does it as a starting point guard and does it more efficiently than Lance Stephenson does. So I know the West is packed with point guards right now. You know, well, you're talking about a De'Aaron Fox, you're talking about Ja Morant, things like that, guys that are just, you could say right now, are cut above him. But I think that DeJounte Murray is quickly ascending into that conversation. And I just don't think that Ja Morant is 50 spots better than DeJounte Murray. I'll say it like that.
And so I'm going to keep it short and sweet. The one guy I had who is underrated on ESPN's list is Nikola Jokage. There's no way that league MVP should rank outside of the top 5 point blank period. That's all I got to say on it, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I give it to you. I won't argue.
Cop out to me. You could come harder than that, Nick. You could come harder than that.
Okay.
So you were moving to what, 5 versus 6?
He 4 on my list. I just think it's disrespectful personally that you were voted the best player in the NBA and you don't even get in the top 5. Just let that sink in.
The best center, though. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
Put it like that.
It's semantics. I don't like that take. I need another one.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry you're not getting. And so now we're going to close this episode out with our game balls. And this week I'm giving out 23 of them. I'm giving out 23 game balls. Every player that recorded a defensive stat for Georgia on Saturday, they getting a game ball. They held Arkansas to 162 total yards of offense. They played 4 quarters, and Arkansas only got 162 total yards of offense. And the longest play on offense for Arkansas is only 22 yards. Every brother that strapped them up for Georgia's defense on Saturday deserves a game ball, and that's what I'm giving mine to.
All right, so game ball, I'm going to have to give it – I was going to give it to Trevon Diggs. You know, shout out to the Cowboys, 5 interceptions, looking like the best defensive player in the game right now, not only corner, but defensive player in the game. Well, I'm going to have to give it to the king of Memphis, Nicholas Hayes, 4 catches, 170 yards, 26.8 yards per catch, 2 tutties. That's a lot of fantasy points. I'm going to have to give it to him.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It means a lot.
Yes.
No, I should give it to the Cowboys for releasing Jalen Smith. Sorry ass.
Damn. Hey, he's still getting that money, so he don't care what none of us say. Anyway. Yeah. But coming to the stage, JETS, Jets. Got to get the game ball to the game, bringing them for an outstanding performance against a certain member's favorite team in this this podcast co-host situation that we got out here. Tennessee Titans, yeah, a little bit. You feel me? We not stepping on anything that don't got the little Tennessee Titans, whatever. Tennessee Bites, we don't care nothing about that. Yeah. So Zach Wilson, I think, undoubtedly turned in the best rookie quarterback performance so far of the season. Not saying much because some of these rookie quarterbacks have been, and I'm not talking about Big 30 when I say that. Regardless, he had some really good throws. You know, Corey Davis, that late 4-quarter touchdown, that's over 55 yards in the air between 2 defenders. Then also another 30-yard out route perfectly placed on the sideline. So yeah. This is the arm talent and the potential that we really got excited for when we drafted him number 2 at the BYU. I will still go on the record and say I'm a big Justin Fields fan. He looked okay. He looked good in that Chicago win. But for right now, all hell Zach. Yeah, we did his thing. The defensive front, the highlight of our team. You know, outstanding as always. Quincy Williams, two biological brothers in the NFL on the same NFL team. This fantastic storyline going on, anyways. And then with our with these next gen stats, we had 4 edge rushers produce 6 or more pressures. John Franklin Myers with 8, Bryce Huff, a Memphis guy, with 7, Quentin Williams with 6, and then our new free agent acquisition, Sheldon Rankins, with 6 as well. With Shaq Lawson dropping a nice little 4-piece on there to replace Carl Lawson as well. So yeah, if things are looking up in MetLife, you know, you're talking about Zach Wilson, his ability to make plays outside the pocket. You defeat a very good Tennessee Titans team.
Hey, bro, let it out, bro. Let it out.
Hey, he gotta get it all out now because they finna finish 1-16. This is the only opportunity.
Thank you. I was about to say, don't do that. Don't be looking at your watch. You know, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. I'm gonna pop my. You feel me? So big shout out to Gang Green. Big shout out to the Jets. You know, hopefully this is not the last time I can come on here and talk about them winning a game. And if it is, Mr. Riley, here we come. But, yeah, for this very moment in time, I can be excited. I can say yes, the Jets are better than the Tennessee Titans, boy.
Any given Sunday. And so with that, that's how we're gonna wrap our episode up. Shout out to Gang Green, whooping up on the Titans, woody woo. They probably gonna finish 1-16, like I said. You know, maybe y'all can play not in the Super Bowl, but in the Toilet Bowl versus the Texans, depending on how the season shakes out.
Let me ask y'all this, bro. What would happen first? What would happen first, bro? The Jets win another game, or John Durant makes a contact dunk?
John Durant making a contact dunk.
I mean, he's way more likely to try that and succeed before the Jets win another game. But I'm not gonna allow the negativity and the toxicity of my two co-hosts reign on my Gang Green parade. So whatever y'all talking about, I really don't care. It's Jets Nation, baby. Shout out to that boy Zach Wilson, future Hall of Famer. You heard it here first, and that's how we rock it.
All right, last question. Which one happens first? Just advance. Just get another win. Kyrie gets vaccinated.
Definitely Jets win because Kyrie is idiotic. So we probably got the season would be over before Kyrie gets vaccinated. So. I mean, that obviously will possibly happen. Again, we could, like you said, this could be our one shining moment. But allow me to shine. Let my light shine while it's bright, brother. Stop with the negativity. You feel me? So, yeah.
Who y'all got next week? Who y'all got this week?
Brother, we don't focus on the future. We live a mindset.
Right now.
We're talking about right now.
What do you mean?
Asking the experience of beating the Titans, brother. And all the people that watch this podcast, I just want y'all to know that, you know, I know my team is sorry. Yes, I acknowledge it. On Sundays, I be quiet. On Mondays, I be talking again. But, you know, for Sundays, I let, the little winners had a little time. But when it was time for me to show some exuberation, some excitement for my team, and not excitement, especially against somebody that is a rival in the group chat, there was a whole lot of silence going on. So I didn't appreciate that.
I was at work. Don't do that.
I don't care, bro. People looking on their phone all the time.
I had a basketball game to work. I had to make money.
I don't care. I definitely wanted to pop my shit advantage face a little bit.
Don't worry.
He didn't give me the opportunity.
We'll see y'all again. We're gonna bet money. Cowboys or Titans. We're gonna bet money on it. Man, you talking real spicy. You gonna bet money on it.
No, brother, I am. Hey, bro, I'm like the dude in the hood that got that one knockout punch, and they're never gonna win another fight. Bro. So you gonna let me get off to that. You gonna let me get off to that. For right now, the Jets
switch out my game ball.
You said what?
I'm gonna switch out my game ball. I'm gonna give it to Justin for doing a podcast with us, bro. Clap it up.
Wow.
So we got Kenneth Reed, Jalen Smith, Wale, King Von, anybody else that Nick looks like, just go ahead and throw it out here, man, for you, because you've been on your good behavior. I will not lie. You've been pretty assured of yourself through the podcast. I'll give you this last
for the most part.
Yeah, man. So make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, do all of that, and we out of here.
Man, find us on OnlyFans, Patreon, Christian Mingle. Yeah, all day. all the platforms, baby.
Yeah, whatever.